My name's Paul Jackson, and I'm the Business Development Director for Global Partnerships Ltd, based in St Ives, sorry. And I've been with the business just over 2 years. So the Global Partnerships is an engineering-based company. So we do a lot of engineering, upfront engineering work with our clients. We tell them sort of the materials and processes that we think are applicable to their products. And then from that, when we agree the scope of work with them, we then make things for them. And we go through a set process in order to do that. My title is Business Development Director. So ordinarily, it's my job to sort of feed the hungry animal and get work into the company. Although I am very active in helping Chris run the business as a statutory director of Global. So on a day-to-day basis, I have operational responsibilities. I have customer responsibilities, sales responsibilities, and board activities. So because we're a company of about 25 in the team here, we're about £1.5 to £2 million turnover. In a smaller company like this, you get involved with quite a lot of different activities, even though my title says I'm just sales or commercial. I left school at 16 and I joined a company in Huntingdon that was actually being run by my uncle at that time in 1982. And he invited me in. It was a business that was formed by my uncle and my father. I sadly lost my father when I was younger. And my uncle invited me in to work for that company in Huntingdon and put me on an apprenticeship scheme. Okay, and I did a 4-year apprenticeship out of that company in Huntingdon. I travelled to Letchworth down in North Hertfordshire, and I stayed away and I did a pattern making apprenticeship for 4 years. And that was a great grounding for me. And it was sort of the first year was full on down in Letchworth at the college. And then we then did block release for the following 3 years. And so that I was able to do practical experience in the company and do studies at the same time after that first year. And so I'm a big fan of apprenticeships because of that reason. So I was hands-on, I was on the shop floor. And once again, I think it's massively important to be able to understand how things are made with your own hands. And we have this thing called CAD, as you know, and the customer sends this creative part model in CAD, and then what we do is we take it from the CAD screen and we actually can physically then put it on the bench. And there's something a bit special about that, you know. So my background, and then after I did my apprenticeship, I worked on the shop floor for a number of years. And then I went into planning engineer, project engineering, production management, commercial manager, commercial director, sales and business development director, managing director. So I've run a company also. So that grounding, although it's many years ago when I was a lot less grey than I currently am, was hugely important. From working in the offices as planning projects, etc., I then went and did an ONC. I did a HNC and I did a DMS. Some of those were at Cambridge Tech, some of them were at Peterborough Tech. So I continued to do. I didn't get a degree. I didn't go down that route, and I didn't. What I would like to have got was an MBA, perhaps, which, as I sort of went up the ladder a little bit. The job sort of took control, and then I had a family, etc. So I think probably I regret not doing an MBA, but you can see the way my career has progressed, and then over the last sort of 10, 12 years, I've been at director level trying to help run businesses and keep customers happy and make sure the business makes money. I ran another company in Huntingdon, and we had about 120 employees, and hugely important and quite challenging employing people. But I always invited Hinchinbrook and Peter School to look around the place down in Huntingdon. Also some of the colleges, Cambridge, I think CRC came down, Huntingdon Tech came in, and it's really, and I did the presentations to the kids because I felt it's important that a lot of the children walked past the company I ran in Huntingdon to St Peter's School and didn't know what we were doing in there. And we did things like drones, we did things for motor racing, sports car F1, and they actually came in and they actually saw some of that happening, and hopefully it had an impact on their careers, and perhaps hopefully made them work a little bit harder to get some qualifications to then, and maybe go down an engineering route themselves. We have two with you currently. A chap called Sam Cox, who's doing an electrical engineering course. He came in, we employed him as a youngster, and then he came in, and then we gave him the opportunity to we then sent him to CRC to do that course. He's in his 3rd year now, and he's out 1 day a week. It's Tuesday, he's out today, doing it's not probably online stuff obviously at the moment, but so he's been in the business 3.5 years, and has worked out really well. A young lad, very keen, adding value to the business now. Well, he has done for quite a while, so that's Sam Cox. We also have another chap you may know, may have heard, Luke Chapman, a young guy, came in as work experience. We had 2 work experience guys come in, and we picked Luke, so he was able to work with us a bit. And I think that's hugely important, to be able to see how people are, in a working environment, how their personalities are, will they fit in with the team, have they got natural practical experience, have they got a bit of common sense, have they got a bit about them. And they're the sort of attributes that we look for when young people come in. And whilst you accept they haven't got the confidence sometimes, and I'd sooner someone was a little bit quieter than someone a bit in your face. So Luke joined the team. He's at CRC doing a 2-year mechanical engineering course with yourselves, and he's working out really well. He's adding value to the business. And when he was here on work experience, to be fair, he started adding value pretty much straight away. So it was a great way of being able to say, yeah, we give this lad a chance, and I think it is about giving people a chance. I think these sort of placements, the apprenticeships, allows the hands-on work experiences with the theory. I mean, in the past, I've been involved with degree type people who have had their heads in books for, they've done their O-levels, A-levels, and then they've gone to done a degree in engineering or whatever, but they haven't got that hands-on experience, and they may be able to run CAD, but they don't quite know the complexities of making things in CAD land. We say in CAD land, it looks very simple, and I think the apprenticeship stroke day release type approach, I think allows people to grow both by looking in the books, and the theory side is important, don't get me wrong, because it gives you that basic understanding, but also then applying that then in a practical environment, in a working environment. It's hugely important. So through my experiences and what we have here at Global, that balance, I think, it really works well. It really does. We put the guys around a couple of different departments, and then they generally tend to migrate where they feel most comfortable, and we want them where they feel comfortable and where they feel they can add value. So both actually Luke, we had him laminating, and where we lay the material into a mold to form the shape, and then it gets baked and cooked and then gets cracked out, and it's all nice and hard. He did some laminating to start with. He did a little bit of trimming. We've got a trimming area where this part that's come out of a mold, which is hard, it needs trimming up, assembling, bonding together. So we involved him in a little bit of that. And then we put him in the integration area. So we take these moldings. You can perhaps see some of the things behind here. We make these things for ships up here. I don't know if you can see that here. This is a ship. I don't know if you can see how clearly you can see that. But we make products that go on the naval ships. Okay, and we make a part that actually sits here. It's called a radar system, and we've got an ongoing contract with a large defence customer, and we have to build so many of these a month. And in the integration area, we take the moldings and we take motors, we build the motors, we put electronics inside this bit of kit. And both Sam and Luke are based in that area. And Lucas seemed to have migrated there because we needed some additional support there. And he seems to have embraced that area. And it's sort of like a finishing area. It's an integration area. It's quite skilled. It's quite fiddly and skilled. And so both those two guys I've mentioned are based in that area. And they do things like build motors. They bond, they attach things inside. They screw them in. We then test the units. We have to test the unit because it spins round on the ship, because it's basically checking for radar, protecting the ship. And so they're involved in the testing, in the integration, in the electronics. And they're also in there that we've recently won some business to do trainer systems for radar and for sonar. And this is basically, you've heard of submarines. So guys go down under the water and they're looking and watching. And so we build these systems that they're like classroom systems that allow the new recruits in the Navy to learn the basic skills around sonar and the such like. So this hasn't got any composites in it at all. So it's a really interesting system. And we've linked up with a company very locally, a super company that we've built a really good relationship with. And these guys are building these units as well. As they get more skills and as the business grows, departments get bigger, and then you need someone in charge of the departments, and like a leading hand or a charge hand or whatever. So I think there's certainly scope for the guys, or there's potential for them to go into the engineering side. Maybe if they're, it's one thing that if people are saying, look, we want to get involved in CAD, we want to do, it's an opportunity. We're very open to that. So I just think it depends on characters, personalities, whether they want to progress. Some people don't. They don't want that responsibility. So we are, as a management team, we're quite open. And one of the ladies, we've got some girls here that laminate the products as well, and they do a very good job, very dexterous with their hands. And Grace, for instance, she does some of these layout books, which actually give you a step-by-step process on how we make the product, how we lay the material into the mold. And she said, "Oh, can I do some of these booklets?" So she jumps on a computer and she does some of these, and so I'm just trying to give you a feel for the way the company works. So Luke's fairly new into the business, so he's just finding his feet, and obviously he's trained. He's out 2 days a week, so we've invested in him 2 days a week. So he's still obviously in his first year. But certainly Sam is starting to take more responsibility now. And I think it's very easy to sort of take responsibility away from people. You've got to let people grow. And it's very often, recently, one of our lads had to self-isolate, one of our engineers, and he always took the lead for Sam. And actually with Devinder out of the business for a couple of weeks, Sam stepped up. He stepped up, and he was working directly with me, which he didn't do before, which isn't a problem, but because Devinder was that sort of interface. And you just saw he can, Sam can actually step up when he needs to. So it's just identifying those opportunities, the right times, the right personalities in terms of growth, no question, and seeing output from them. It's not just output, but also getting them involved in meetings is another good thing. Getting customer meetings. Sam has been involved in a couple of custom meetings. Some of the trainer systems I mentioned, Sam does the test in conjunction with our customer. He likes to come in and see the part tested. So Sam is involved in that and talks our customer through the testing. So I think getting them involved, customers like interaction. And I've always, whenever I've been in any company, I like making a bit of a fuss of the guys on the ground with the customer, because we're all a jigsaw puzzle. I can't do it. We can't in the offices. We can't do it without the guys on the ground. And I think it's that it's getting that ethos into the business so that you are a team. And I know it's easier with a smaller company. The most I've ever worked in is a company, Lolo had 220 people, and that's the biggest company I've ever worked in. Some companies are thousands of people, aren't they? And it's run in a different way. But I like that sort of the personal touch with customers and with the team internally. We interviewed, I don't know, half a dozen people that were put forward, and he was a quiet lad, but you know, you could tell he was quite focused, and he'd actually worked in a garage, taking that his dad knew the owner of this garage, a bike garage, and these are sort of things that it's important to know when you interview people. And he takes bikes apart and puts them back together, and I think people that do that, you know, it tells you something, doesn't it? It's sort of some of the important things I see is having some practical experience, perhaps having taken things apart. And I think when you interview someone, it's very important that you make them feel comfortable and relaxed, because you get more out of an interview, and and understanding the sort of things they've done, you know, at home or in the garden or whatever. And yeah, because we build things here, although we do a lot of engineering work, and you know, there's a number of different things involved in the business, but ordinarily when you're building things, it's important to know that people have done a bit of that elsewhere, even if it's taking a bike apart, cleaning things, or taking a computer apart, or whatever, I don't know. And so I think the practical experience is important. I think having some common sense is important, you know, knowing what's right and what's wrong, and when to wave the flag, when not. And I know those sort of skills come with experience, but you can just generally, being a team player is hugely important. You know, someone working just on their own, and sometimes you have 2 or 3 people on one job, etc., etc., and you can change the dynamic of a small business by people coming into it. So personalities are really important as well. So they're the sort of things that I look for, that we look for here when we take people on, having practical experience, a good personality, or a measured, balanced personality, and someone who's keen and willing to try and try anything. And also people that have investigated, gone on the website, had a look at sort of things that Global does, and the industries, and those, when you look on a website, you think, wow, they do this, wow, they do that, or it doesn't really interest me, that. And if it doesn't interest you, then it's not the right thing for you. So I think, you know, when you know, youngsters go for interviews, they should investigate a little bit about the companies. Certainly investigate the different areas of engineering, and see what interests you the most. If you can get around some companies that you know, maybe through your network, or your parents, or your friends, your uncles, whatever, and try and just actually go and see how things are done. When the kids came in at my previous company, and they saw it, and they were, wow, you know, how's this stuff made? How's it done? And then, you know, understanding the different techniques, the different industries up front, I think is important. So you sort of know whereabouts you want to be. And yeah, work experience, no question, is invaluable. And you know, it's but you need to try and get as close to you can, and because once again, work experience, you generally will only get once or twice, won't you, in your career, before you then move on. Uh, you know, find out what the colleges, sort of courses the colleges offer, because that gives you some ideas of the different industries that you perhaps want to go into, or do a general course rather first, to sort of find out if it's what you want. So yeah, I think it's just being proactive.